Grief is a really hard thing to navigate, no matter how long it has been since your loved one has passed. And as a witch, as a psychic and spiritual practitioner who does get to communicate with, some of my loved ones who have passed, some who I've never met, some who are still present, but I know aren't here for very long. Well, in ways it can make it easier, in other ways it doesn't. And this topic I really feel like is wanting to come through because tomorrow would be my dad's 55th birthday. Yeah, so I have officially lived half of my life without my dad, and that is something that has been, really, really present in my brain right now. As it always is this time of year. He passed away when I was 15, and I won't get into the details too much about that. But I did want to talk about what it was like being somebody who had an understanding, had those spiritual gifts, even if they weren't developed yet, I think would be the right way to phrase that. Shortly after my dad passed away, I had a dream that took place kind of at the school that I lived at the time. And, at that point in my life, I maybe had a dream once every few months. But he came to me in a dream and was like, it's okay. Like, you can let go. I love you. I'm sorry I didn't get to say goodbye in person. And yeah, that was really, really difficult. I would often sense him. And now, 15 years later, 4 or 5 years into my spiritual practice and journey, I get to talk to him. He isn't always there, but a lot of times he is. We communicate. We've had some, really deep conversations where, in a way, it was receiving some of the closure that I never got the chance to in real life. Because once someone has moved on, once they are no longer in this incarnation, they're reconnected to the knowing of what it is like to be connected to source, what it is like to have an understanding of everything, of timelines, of the patterns that show up in the ways that they might have been acting from a place of their own wounds or their own trauma. And this is not always the case. And, not every person who has passed on will A, show up, or B, have this understanding and knowing. But it was really nice to get to have that with my dad. It was not something I had ever really expected. And the hard thing is I still miss him. I don't think that is ever going to change. And seeing him now, or having the knowing of his presence, being able to communicate with him, it doesn't mean I miss him any less. Grief is a very winding road. Sometimes it hits you out of nowhere, and sometimes it stays with you for a very, very long time. And yeah, I also feel like grief can be one of those very taboo subjects that nobody wants to talk about. You can only grieve for so long where it seems acceptable in society. A year's happened. Why are you still so upset? Why are you still so frustrated? And that can also be really difficult. I was in a deep depression. I struggled with my mental health my whole life, but specifically regarding my dad, for almost a decade before I felt the lightening of that load. and it still weighs heavily. You know, at March, every March, he passed on his birthday, so, you know, at least it's one day, but every time around that time of year, um, it weighs heavy on me. And yeah, I just wanted to leave space for that. Because also, as a psychic medium who is from a family of mostly religious people, it's not something I get to talk about a lot. And I know I am not the only one in that position. Grief is hard. Seeing your loved one after they have passed, or even before they have passed, but are back and forth in the energetic, you know, passed on realm, whatever you'd like to call it. It's difficult. And when you feel like you have no one to talk to about that, it can add another layer of complexity. When I was younger, I didn't know fully what I believed in. Now I have an understanding that I know reincarnation exists. I have seen so many memories from my past lives. I've had so many understandings of memories I thought I had as a child that were actually just past lives, not glimpses from movies like I had thought. And as I have developed my gifts, as I have been better able to navigate and pull up those memories, I've also gotten to see how we have been in each other's lives numerous times. For example, in one life in particular, he was my nephew, and his mother had passed when he was around 5 or 6, and I had taken him in and raised him, which, you know, is a full role reversal. And I think that was also very special to see, and a way to be connected. Losing someone is never easy. Grief is never easy. But if you have lost someone, if you are feeling that loss, whether you have the ability to communicate with them afterwards or not, you're not alone in it. And I just wanted to share that. I just wanted to talk about it because I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough. Lately, I have been trying to listen to my intuition and to be more present, to share more of my experiences, to talk about the things that weigh heavy on me, the things that are hard, the gifts that I have, the understanding and knowing and memories I have of the universe and how it works and how things are connected. And that also has been difficult to navigate. But in the same way that you are never alone in your grief, you are not alone in your journey of wanting to be seen. There are a lot of us right now who have been feeling that calling to talk about these things, to talk about our gifts, to talk about the way we see the world, to talk about the things that are important to us. And knowing that I am not alone in that also helps. It's not just the other people I am seeing online talking about these things, but it's also my spirit team, my guides, my ancestors, my dad, you know, the otherworldly beings that I work with who show up again and again and again to help, that truly do ease this transition. It is okay to cry. It is okay to grieve. It is okay to feel melancholy. And it's okay to know that you're not alone in that. I really hope this has helped someone. It really felt like the thing that needed to come through today, especially with him weighing so heavily on my mind right now. So yeah, if you would like to share your stories, I would love to hear them, whether it is of sharing memories of those who have passed, or sharing how you've been able to remain connected to those who have passed, whether through spiritual gifts or just in memory and sharing. People live on through us. People live on through their stories. Grief is heavy, but you do not have to carry the weight of it alone. I appreciate you. I am grateful you are here. Thank you.